Okay, since we're waiting on the clutch still for this here motor, and we've got to wait for some rear suspension parts before we can really get this thing bolted in here right, I decided to do another test fit. One of the things that I'm a little worried about is since we've switched back to fuel injection now, and this is, the manifold is all mocked up with the fuel injection system on it. I want to make sure it fits, see if it fits under the hood, and probably most importantly, see if this end of this fuel rail actually clears the master cylinder for the brakes. As you can see, it overhangs pretty far. Might be okay, I don't know. We're going to get it up in there and find out. Also probably a good time to figure out how we're going to route the steering shaft through the headers. I'm thinking you probably bring the engine up and then just slide this under in between the header and the cross member. So we'll see. We'll get at it here and bolt it in. Okay, we had it up in there for a moment and realized that the thing that interferes with the header is this piece right here. This is actually a lip that's part of the frame, and it's right by where the cross member mount is, at the bottom of the frame under here. So I took my little BFH and just spanked it in all along here. Not real hard or anything, just enough to get it to curl under some. And I did the same thing on that side, just because now they look the same. Now this should go up in there a little bit easier. And one other thing, I wasn't 100% sure how the steering shaft went, so I tried it in back there where it is now, and that didn't work. So I think what we're going to do now is get it through in between the third and fourth tube back there. We'll see if that works. Okay, well, it's bolted up in there again. Had a lot of trouble getting the crossmember bolts to line up. And after I horsed everything around, I found out what the problem is. There ain't any clearance between this power steering pump pulley and this here frame rail where it bulges out. So, I don't know if you can see it on the camera because it's black Sharpie on a black car, but I have it marked here and here. So when we lower it down again, we will take the little BFH and bash the hell out of that in, so that hopefully this will clear. If it doesn't clear, then we're going to have to go to the other option of removing the power steering pump and going with one of the later 3-post things with the pulley on it that bolt to the 3 bolts on the front of the head. That's up here, so it's away from the frame rail. I don't know, maybe I'll just start looking for one of them anyway. Should be able to find one used somewhere. And I got to get something under. I don't have the bell housing on it or anything, so I need to get something under the flywheel here. Let me see. Is there yeah, it looks like there's space between the head on this side and the firewall. That's good. That side, surprisingly, is not a problem. There seems to be a good bunch of room back there. So I'm going to stop stressing about things like the hole over there that I haven't plugged yet. It's just got, you know, Gorilla Tape on it for right now, but yeah, that's perfectly accessible once the engine's in, so I'm not going to worry about it for right now. We can work on that later. So the next thing I want to do is get the intake, get the chain off of here and set the intake manifold with the fuel rail on there, and that way we'll get an idea of where the throttle body ends up, where the fuel rail is in relation to the master cylinder for the brakes and everything. And we'll try to close the hood, see what happens. Should be interesting. Okay, so we got the intake manifold on it here. I'm pretty happy. The fuel rail seems to not have any real issues. This cable, I don't know if we're going to use it or not. Probably work better if we swapped it with the throttle cable in the firewall there. But it seems a bit long, so, and you can't really twist it or bend it around or anything because it will, you know, kink and do nasty things. So I don't know. I'll have to figure that one out. And around the back here, you know, there's lots of room back here. I'm kind of surprised. And it looks like the fuel rail clears everything over there. Fuel connection on that back of that one's a little tight, but looks like it will work. I'm probably going to get a piece of U channel and attach it to the firewall here, and that way these hoses and cables can fit in it, and I'll be able to mount the fuel rail and the power module to the outside of it, because there's not a lot of firewall real estate here to play with all the hoses and battery cables and fuel lines, air conditioning lines. They're all kind of in the way there. So I thought about that for a while. That's probably what we're going to do. Since there is so much room back there, I'm kind of surprised that there is that much room. So that should work pretty good. Next thing we should probably do is see if the hood closes. That would be interesting to know. And if it doesn't, what does it hit? So let's go. Okay, so far so good. Get you up in there so you can see what's going on. I can't see. Last little bit. Almost, but not quite. Yeah, that don't want to go. Maybe my hood latch has a problem. I don't know. It's been a while since I shut it. Did it mark anything? There's a mark there. I don't know what that is. Don't see anything hitting. Again, it has this pad here. Maybe that's the problem. Look up in there, see what happens. Well, it's not touching that. Make sure the thing is actually set. So, yeah. Well, it should latch. no idea what it's doing. We didn't get anything stuck back here. Well, that's not supposed to be there, but stick that there. Yeah, maybe not. I'll take this stuff out here just to be sure. Okay. Do have these heater hoses laying here. But I've already checked them. They're out of the way. What on earth is sticking up far enough to cause a problem? You would think it's either the end of the fuel rail or throttle cable bracket. That mark right there. I don't know. But if that made the mark, you'd see it on here somewhere. I would have thought it would have been right about here. Yeah, that's right about where the throttle body is. See if we can get the camera up here to see it. Yeah, this is the throttle body here. I mean the bracket for the throttle cable right here. Kind of dark now. This seems like something's wrong with the latch. Which is weird. Okay, I don't see any marks on here. This is bizarre. What a weird thing to happen. Okay, I don't know. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong with this. Oh, there you go. Hood closed. See if we squashed anything. Hopefully not. I don't know. Well, take a better look at it later, but that's it. It's in there. Okay, we figured it out. The center brace of the hood is actually just touching the throttle body. You see there's a little mark there. It's like just touching it on the edges here. So, and you know, it's been open and closed a couple times, so the mark is bigger. So you've got one mark there and one mark there. So it looks like we could probably just clearance that part of the hood and it should be okay. That's pretty good. I mean, I expected to have more problems with the hood than that. So yeah, pretty happy with the way this is so far. Shame it's not permanent, but oh well. We'll get there eventually.